Oh, here he is. Welcome, Damo.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Bill and Rebsy.
Oh, now, where are we at?
Where do we start?
It has blown up over the weekend. Where have we landed on a Monday, Geelong?
Yeah, we may as well start with that Geelong story, the Jake Kolodjasny waiver story that is the talk of the AFL industry, as we know, broken by Jay Clark last Thursday in the Herald Sun. So the latest, Jim, the board today of the Geelong Footy Club had met, which they had scheduled to do across the course of the weekend as this story erupted. They will be giving the AFL their final version of the please explain that was required from them, from the AFL.
Yep.
And then the AFL will go away and deliberate on it. Now, we've seen a few commentaries over the course of the weekend. Stephen Hawking has spoken twice, once on K-Rock, once to the general media. We've seen Craig Drummond, the AFL chair, who was the president of the Cats at the time of the incident, also speaking twice through statements through the AFL. We've seen Chris Scott totally wash his hands of any involvement around it. And then we had the great Paddy Dangerfield today rolling up to the Geelong Footy Club, offering this as his assessment.
It's one thing to have an opinion early, which I think we all do. That's natural. That's certainly me as a player and our players and externally. But it's not until you unpack all the detail that we'll sort of find out what the whole process was, why it was done the way that it was. Clearly, there's some parts that will bug it up as a club and we can do better. But I still think there's a bit to unpack yet.
So they've buggered up, Jim, and it's a misstep, according to the club, on record at this point in time.
Yep.
Well, there's been some bark taken off. There's no doubt about that. Amazed at a couple of responses.
Yes.
Jimmy Bartell didn't miss the club.
No, he
Either
didn't.
gross incompetence or a deceitful act.
He did say
They
that,
are
Jimmy.
strong words.
Yeah, they are. And I think they deserve to be. And you and I have discussed this on air. We've had a crack at getting some answers out of Andrew Dillon on the Saturday rub. And I think he handled the moment pretty well in terms of he can't preempt any outcomes with the AFL investigation into it. And we've obviously spoken off air too, Jim. And I think you and I are on a similar wave. The care that I've got no doubt was there at the outset of these discussions around Jake Kolodjasny's situation relating to the neutral finding by the concussion panel. It didn't say you can continue. It didn't say you can't continue. It just left him in that no man's land zone, which required the conversations to be had. And again, I'm believing of the club that there was a care component to the initial starting of the conversations.
Doubt there
but
would have been.
I think, Jim, that the care though got lost from that moment to the failure to lodge the document, the waiver document with the AFL.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had to bring both the AFL and the AFLPA and the players' manager. All of them had to end up involved in the conversation. The other bit with Andrew Dillon, who I'm a fan of, you know I am, Damo, is I don't think he's been done any favours by the chairman. I think he can be really disappointed by the fact that the chairman didn't grab him in the corridor and find an empty office and just say, listen, mate, just give you a heads up. This has happened a couple of years ago, and now that we've got this white-hot brain trauma issue, you should know that this clause has been added to a contract when I was at Geelong, and we need action on it. I really think Andrew can be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Jim. And can I just get you, though, to give your perspective as a former president of a footy club, which obviously has conversations with each other, and they often come together with AFL briefings and seminars, and how you would, if you were still in that chair position of a footy club, be expecting now to have unfold the AFL investigation and the ramifications for Craig Drummond himself on it?
Well, I think the club will be fined. I don't know how much. You'd have a much better idea than me about that. I don't know Craig Drummond at all. Everyone tells me he's a very nice fella, and I'm sure he is.
Which he is. Yep.
I just worry about him doing that job going forward, Purple, with people looking at him going, well, what are we dealing with here, mate? You had a chance to put your hand up and go, you know what, I actually have got to come forward and come clean with what happened 2 years ago. He didn't, and now we've got all hell breaking loose. I assume he will get through. I know there's lots of people saying he probably shouldn't. It looks to me like he will, but it's how he operates going forward from here that will be of interest to me. How do you have the highest position in our game having had that happen?
Yep.
What do you think?
No, I agree with how you've couched all of that. And the simple fact of the matter, and to Paddy Dangerfield's point, let's see what comes out of the investigation. And I hope the AFL is really probably as transparent as it possibly can be with what it releases to the public on this. But he did make a statement Thursday night. He then was forced to make another one Saturday morning. That is not normal practice for a chair of the AFL Commission to be making so many public comments in such a short space of time, and comments that were vastly different to the first one. So, I'm with you on how that is situated right now.
In closing on it, I don't think we'll ever see a waiver added to a contract again in the history of the AFL.
Yeah.
But it's funny how many past players have said they would have signed it.
Yeah.
To
play-
all
I think
of them,
to play their dream.
Current players in the same
the
situation,
current players,
which
yeah,
I think would be, yeah.
would
And I
have
think
signed
that's
it.
where the conversation needs to go.
Yes.
As we then have a situation next year through the courts, the massive wave of class action that is going to be hitting the AFL system.
Plus, Collar's played another 3 years since then, hadn't he?
He has.
On good
Yep.
money,
Yep.
and he's had no more concussions.
Got to
which is
career game number 200 this year.
exactly. So,
And it was an emergency for the weekend.
no, he's
just
still
gone.
going all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. He's been very good in the VFL too. Now, Damo,
Yes.
have we done that? I don't want to say you've done all that. You're happy with the Geelong
I
stuff?
think we can move on from that now.
Can you please explain to me how the wildcard round works? Because I just been waiting for it, and I only thought it was one game, to be honest.
Right.
But so the top 6 teams, they all have a week off.
Yep.
And then 7 play 10.
Yep.
And 8 play 9.
In the week that has recently been the bye for all teams.
Right.
Yep.
And obviously the 2 winners go through.
To
and
play,
then
to
you've
play
got the 8.
6 and 7.
And
Yep.
then you've got the 8.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 and 6.
Right.
So then it becomes normal after that.
Yeah.
The interest for me with it, Purple, is how the teams that get through the wild card perform beyond that weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be the great unknown, isn't it? Whether you benefit from having the extra week, and in Carlton's case, you might if they still maintain their position, and equally what it means for the teams just hanging on ever so desperately, and how far they can go.
That's right.
Because we've seen teams, and Brisbane, in its years of making consecutive grand finals, has gone through the 4 weeks. Even in 2023, I think it was, Bill, when they made the grand final. Last year, they lost their first final. So they played 4 weeks of finals, just losing the first one. So, yeah, I'm with you, Jim. Let's get to the positives, though. Bill, you want to go?
Oh, yes, please,
Yep.
Damien.
While there's a temptation to start with Carlton, I'm going to start with the Melbourne Footy Club, who, as we know and as called by Triple M on Saturday, beat the ladder-leading Dockers on the weekend. And I know you've rehashed this, Jim, and hashed it out, but the game of Cozzy Pickett was another special one for him in what is looming as a special season for his club.
No, they were great. I really, it was almost the game of the year, that one. They were absolutely brilliant, Melbourne, and Freo were really good too. So, you know, they're not losing a lot out of it. But I just thought it was a showpiece of how our game can be played.
Yeah, I agree, and I've loved the season. I've loved the standing up in big moments of Tom Sparrow this year, Bill.
It's been good.
And the rack contest was fantastic, wasn't it? The narrative around the Luke Jackson versus Max Gawn, and I think they both could walk off the ground feeling they've contributed, but obviously Max being the winner and stood up in the last quarter as he often does.
Yeah, exactly.
So this interests me because I don't want Freo in the negatives because I thought they're actually really good. But they have managed the minutes of their midfielders over the last month, in-game managing the minutes.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty open about the fact that that's what they've done. I reckon in the last 2 weeks, Sarong's been flat, Brayshaw's been flat, Bolton was flat, better in the second half. Murphy Reed's been flat. It's the first time all four of their gun mids have been pretty, their numbers have been down, their impact's been down. I wonder what the resting in game has done with that.
Well,
I don't know. How would you know? But it's just weird that they've all been flat together.
Yeah, you'd rather be flat in round 22 than,
Of course,
than
that's
the
right.
qualifying
and
final.
they rested the fullback, Alex Pearce.
Yeah, they
if
did.
he plays,
Yeah.
they probably win.
I reckon you could argue that point, Bill, given it was a goal of difference or a kick
But
the difference.
they didn't really need to win. Whereas Melbourne, that is a bloody good win.
Huge win. Yeah,
Great win for Melbourne.
And right at the moment, it takes them out of that wild card round, which you've just discovered.
Which 7
involves
plays
4
10
teams.
and 8 plays 9.
I think you're the only person who works in the industry who's worked out how
I
it
just
works
waited.
today. But yeah, well
Right.
done.
I waited for it.
Yeah.
Righto.
you got
A little break because
Oh.
I know we got lots more positives.
Oh, he's got
We'll
plenty.
get
Carlton will be
to
up
them.
next anyway, Jim.
All right, very good.
I want
Carlton.
to get to Carlton because there was a lot built up about the Sunday night game and there were circumstantial sort of reasonings behind how much hype there was on it. But The bottom line is Carlton lived up to every part of it, and importantly, they lived up to the expectation that was on them going into the game, and they lived up to the expectation, Jim. I felt that
They were bloody great.
They were.
They were. And when Nasai Wanganeen-Miller went down 10 minutes into the game, that added to the expectation. We just, as in Carlton, had to just win that game.
But they were going to win that before that.
I
They
think
were
so.
on.
They were on, weren't they?
from
They
the.
were on,
I
yeah.
tell you, I love Frankie Evans.
Great game.
Yep.
Only kicked one goal, but he set
He was
up a
lively,
lot,
wasn't he?
and he was on
Yep.
fire. And Cripper now has become a very good team player.
Yep.
He's not about getting 30 every week.
Creating
It's just-
passages and
exactly,
holes and-
doing
yep.
all that. He's become a good team player.
While you're talking about Frankie Evans, what about little Taylor Byrne?
How
The
good is
right-
he? Yeah.
Little barrel.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's a tough unit.
He's had a
is.
really good season.
Oh, yeah.
For a guy who, as we remember, missed a goal after the
Yep.
siren to win a game of footy, but he's just responded to that like
He is as
a
hard
true star.
as nails.
Yeah. Love the game of Mark Pitnet too in the ruck. And again, there's a point to prove, wasn't there, I
Personal.
think, in the whole Tom de
Personal.
Koning matchup. And yeah, I think he does, and I think he's entitled to. He's a journeyman, isn't he, effectively? And he's played 100 games of footy, or about to play 100 games of footy coming up, and it's a good achievement in itself.
Yep.
I really love the game of Ollie Florent too. I thought he was really sound all night.
Adam Chera, very
Adam
good.
Chera,
Yep.
yeah. Using the non-preferred left foot. And then the narrative, obviously, it was going into the game and coming out of it, the Josh Fraser component to it. And
So did you hear us? You mightn't have, Purple. We had him pre-match.
I did. I
Kane
heard
Cords
that.
and myself.
Yep.
That's as close as he's come to saying I'm in.
What did he
was-
say?
He didn't absolutely say it. I said to him, "Can we ask you about next year, Coach?" And he said, "Yeah, I was in this week." And then he obviously, with his father's passing, he backed out of it. But he said, "We'll get stuck into it this week." So it's basically the close. Well, I think anyway. I haven't heard him come any closer than that, Damo, to saying I'm in.
No,
he
I agree with you,
have the
Jim.
hoodie
I
on?
watched it. I watched the interview as it unfolded. I thought the same thing. I noticed you referenced it a few times during the broadcast, and you clearly got more out of him than the general post-match conference, because he then went back into team mode after the game, which he's done the whole way through. So
He has to be the coach, doesn't
yeah,
he?
I mean, he
has to
almost
be.
doesn't need to publicly announce what he's doing now, because the actual action is the significant part of the application to the process. I know Collingwood only beat a team that is 16th on the ladder.
No.
Bill. I really liked their performance
I
against West
loved
Coast.
it.
I thought it was a very special
To go,
performance.
he didn't play.
Yep.
Pendlebury late. I actually thought they have a go.
Yep.
And he's a good coach. Craig McRae's a bloody good
Brilliant
coach. And I loved it. I had him I had backed West Coast, by the way. And that was me last leg of me multi.
wasn't a fact.
So I'm going for West Coast,
Yeah.
and I thought, no, stuff you. Well done, Collingwood. And Nick Dacos, if he doesn't if he doesn't play last night, they don't win.
Yeah, I think that's a fair case to mount.
What's the bloody oath? It's right.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play
Well,
last night,
they had a lot of good players. Josh Dacos was very
he
good,
was
Bill.
good. No, but if Nick doesn't
Ed Allen
play,
was very good.
if
Liam
Nick
Punter
doesn't-
was very good.
No!
Dan McStay. Dan McStay's been
Unreal.
a brilliant player now for
skunk?
a half season.
I'm telling you, if
skunk
he-
Maybe
Josh
he
has
was good.
actually had
Lachie Schultz.
Josh Dacos has had a very. I know Nick's the
Schultz.
superstar.
He's in tomorrow.
Josh Dacos has had a very good season.
Yeah, he has, Jim. And as we know, he was a premiership player, a best and fairest winner in a premiership year.
Yep.
Nick
So-
Dacos, he's a star, and if he
No,
doesn't
well, we
play,
all acknowledge
You've
that.
you've woken up to that too, have you? Like the wildcard
I
round.
reckon that's 5 games he's won for him this year. It's a bit like,
I like it,
Billy
Purple.
Frampton.
Keep going.
I'm going to give Northern a big rap here, Jim. It's not something I often do in the positive sections, but it really like against the Western Bulldogs. And as we discussed on the Saturday Rubber, I love the game of Luke Davies-Uniacke. I hope
He
he
is a
does get
bloody
acknowledged.
star, that bloke.
Yeah, I really hope he's got a second Norm Smith, Sid Barker medal.
Barker.
Best and fairest for North Melbourne at the
He
end of this
also
season.
should, at worst, be in the All-Australian squad. If he played for a top 6
Yeah.
team, he would be a lock for an All-Australian midfield position, I reckon. He is a legitimate star of the comp, that
Yep.
bloke.
you know, I was most happy about it, Clarko.
Yeah,
Yes, he
win.
was.
He needed a win.
So that just
they
he gets through the year and he coaches next year now.
It was always coaching next year. It's just how
Was he?
it's how the contract looks beyond that. He was always, in my eyes, yes, Bill, he was.
You and your
Look at the
journos.
frown on
you
Fat's
and your
face.
journos are trying to sack him. I see.
Well, don't put that on me. I've been critical of him, and I don't back away from
Jay
that. But
Clark and all them.
I always said he deserved to have the 2027 year of his contract.
What about the
on
Warlord?
it. He was fantastic,
yeah.
wasn't
Star,
he?
the
Yeah,
Warlord.
He's mad.
yeah, he is, isn't he?
He's mad.
He actually
Fino
is, but
Sullivan's
he
a
makes
ripper.
such a difference, doesn't he?
good
So-
soul.
Yep.
And Paul Curtis's form too. If he can just stop getting suspended, I think it'd be positive.
That's
for
the
North.
only thing that stops him, is the MRO.
Well, how good the Lions, by the way.
Yeah, let's get back to them. Morris, Lohman,
Lohman.
Great performance.
Can't he play?
He can. Ashcroft's had a really good season too.
Yeah,
I feel he could be, with Lockie Neal, vying for that best and fairest award.
Yep.
Lockie's already got 4 of those. Maybe it's time for Will Ashcroft to get one. So, a couple of negatives. I've got a few minutes left.
Go on.
Will.
Will.
Yes.
Barley Smith was good.
Will's
by the way.
asking if he can stick around for a third seg and do
Oh,
your negatives.
negatives.
Yes.
I like it. We'll keep going with the positives.
I'll
and then
give you
we'll
one.
We'll do
Barley
another
Smith's had a
Hang
really
on, he
good
hasn't
year.
said yes yet.
No, he's not happy with the
Purple,
third
we can
segment.
stick around. What else
Well,
are
I
you going to
hadn't
bloody
planned
do?
for it, but yeah, okay.
What else are you doing, Purple?
Hey, Barley
Got a
Smith.
TV show to prepare
Damo,
for, Jim.
Barley Smith was good.
He's a good player, Bill. Have you worked that out too?
He might win. He might win now. The Cat's best and fairest.
He's up and about, Purple.
And no, he's not because he just got told he's doing a third segment. He's never won a best and fairest, so he might win the
He
Cats
might.
this
And
year.
Max Holmes missing matches late in the
Exactly.
season because I think he was on track
Yeah.
for a third, wasn't he?
All right. What are we doing?
Nah, we'll
Brad?
keep going, Damo. We
We'll
won't
keep
keep it for
going.
a third session.
On to negatives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not backing St Kilda's form. 9 wins, 12 losses. They've still got a mathematical possibility of making the wildcard round, which I felt was always going to be the barest minimum chance for them to say the season was going to be a success. So that's on a knife's edge at the moment. I know they lost Nasai Wanganeen Miller at 10 minutes into last night's game. I know they've been without Sinclair, and I know they've had other injuries issues. I know they lost Mason Wood in game last night. But to me, it's been a disappointing year for them. And I
Yes.
don't care for the spin of Ross Lyon or anyone around him. That's my take on that footy club.
that's fair.
And not just off the back of the loss to Carlton, but on the whole season to this point, which has only reaped 9 wins.
Spot on third segment. What else you got?
He's dirty. I'm not coming back after the break now.
He didn't want to come back. He's cracked him.
He's happy to
got to
come
get to
back.
9.
I was happy to come back.
Negative.
Do you want to go to an ad break?
Yes, let's go.
Well,
and-
as we go to the ad break, I've got something.
what?
A text from the Texan.
Oh,
Fat, watch your back. You now have a big target on it. That has come through from the Texan. I love it. We're going to get him on later in the week, and he's going to give it to you.
text me. Oh,
Blubber
hang on.
guts.
Did he drop the F-bomb again, Jim?
Bill,
No,
watch
no,
your back.
yes.
You now have a big target on it.
That's it, Fat.
No.
So if you're wondering if you're just catching up with the show and you're wondering why Texan wants to get a piece of Bill, and I would love to see this. This is what Bill did with Tex's very emotional announcement today that this is his last year.
There are so many people I'd like to thank individually.
Most importantly, JB and Billy from the rush hour. I can hear you all the way from Adelaide because I've got big ears.
That's Texan. That's not me.
What? This is the disrespect Bill has given a legend of the game.
Kicked the most goals for the
Oh,
Crows
he's a
ever.
legend.
I'm embarrassed that I'm laughing at
No,
that.
you shouldn't laugh at
No,
it.
you
You're
shouldn't be
in with
laughing.
us. Yes,
Purple,
Damo.
you shouldn't be laughing at
Well, I
that.
laughed at when Bill said that Tex carried the championship or premiership cup around and over 1.5 times before he realised it was his own head.
That's it.
When they won the cricket grand final.
And Purple, you've got to be careful because when he came on recently, he said he asked you, did he, Purple?
Well, he dropped the F-bomb and then he needed the
F-bomb.
break glass in
That's
emergency to get himself out of that little
it.
kerfuffle, and he started saying my glasses were fogging up.
Anyway, I hope he lassoes Bill and dumps him into a dumpster.
Well, speaking of dump, just have the
all
dump
love.
button ready when he comes on.
It's all love.
Is it laughs,
Yeah,
is it,
is.
Bill?
I love
Yeah,
him.
right.
I love Texan.
Oh, of course you
Ha
do.
ha.
Other negatives, Purple?
Yeah, Bulldogs, they've left themselves in a vulnerable state, haven't they, with matches against Carlton and Melbourne to come. It's, again, we talk about mathematics, don't we, at this time of year? We all become maths experts, and the maths says that losing both those games, there is a world where they could still actually somehow miss. So I don't expect that to happen because something extraordinary needs to happen on top of that. But the game against North, it just wasn't good, was it? There was no real genuine spark in that game. And I think North may have actually exposed a few issues for them. So I didn't like what they did.
Well, they got Carlton too.
Yeah, Carlton and Melbourne to come in their remaining 2 matches. West Coast, Richmond they lost to last week. Collingwood this week, in a very depleted Collingwood. So 4 wins, 17 losses. I can understand why Andrew McQualter continually pumps up the future looking bright, but 4 wins only, 17 losses. We've seen teams get comfortable in losing matches in a relatively honourable way over many years of football and then the improvement never coming. So they're on a watch the way I look at it, Jim. I know that you've got a different view on them, and I know that their kids are really good, and I like what they've done with a couple of recruits. I mean, Durnston looks really, really special. Duff Tyler looks really, really good as well. There's others, Shanahan. But I just worried about the losses that are mounting, Bill.
Exactly.
And the psyche effect that it can have.
Lost 9 in a row now.
Yep. I'm prepared to forgive Hawthorn for what happened on Friday night against the Lions.
They were poor.
How?
Yeah.
But I'm worried
They
too
were
at the
flat
same
as
time.
a biscuit.
Yeah.
They were
Up there.
flat.
Yeah, they were. But they'd done a lot of good prior to that
I
match.
know, but we didn't see that coming.
No, we didn't. But ultimately, the problem they had going to last year's trade period remains the problem right now. They've clearly got their own concerns about the quality in the midfield itself. And when you come up against the team, i.e. Brisbane, that had a very good, strong midfield in that particular game, they were exposed. So that is going to be an issue for them in the remainder of 2026 before they then attack the trade period again. You touched on it before, Jim, with Fremantle. I'm not looking too negatively on them, and they're in this conversation now. Yeah, I mean, the form of Jai Amos to now have 53 goals to his name, it's quite extraordinary. Voss kicked another 4 and looked brilliant again at the MCG. And we touched on the fact that Alex Pearce didn't play in this game. I mean, you're talking about the resting in game. I feel they've chosen to rest him from that game.
I agree.
And I have no issue with that. They've
Just got to
earned the
get
right.
their midfield group back up.
Yep.
That's what, and I'm sure they will, and they'll hit September really hard. I'm with you. I'm not reading too much into that.
And just a few other quick references. Port Adelaide badly belted by the Sydney Swans. We didn't expect them to win, but the 97-point magnitude of loss was a concern. They did get a form of good news, Bill, with the diagnosis on Jason Horne-Francis not being a dramatic outcome to that left knee that buckled under him late in that game. He was really good, and I think he's had a really good season for them. But
Is Zach Butters going to play? Is he?
I just
in one of these two games?
I cannot see him playing, Bill. There's just no point. And
No,
these
no
clubs
point.
I mean, I know he wants to say that, and the club wants to say it on his behalf, and those people around him want to say he's trying to get back. But why? Like, the last game they've got is not even at home, and there are $10 million offers in front of him to play us. It makes no sense to risk a comeback just for the sake of saying goodbye to a team you're about to leave anyway, if that is indeed the path he goes down. So either way, I just cannot see him playing, Bill, despite what he wants and people around him want us to believe.
Mr.
A
Sig.
bad loss by GWS.
It really was, Jim. And again, they're not quite out of their
That's
misery
the
yet.
worst loss. They should be on top.
Yeah, the
Oh,
problem...
look at Fat.
No, you should have got them.
No, but Bill, you wait this segment. No one cares about them. That's the problem they've got, and that's I think a bigger problem for the wider industry as we go into an era where we're about to get a 19th team in. And they've had a bad season. They really have. Gold Coast won its first game in 11 matches. That's how badly they were going on the weekend when they still had something to play for.
And Matt Rouse, say well done to him.
He was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and it's taken him a very long time to get going this year. But I have a defensive
Look at
him
idiot Fat.
Oh, gee.
because
Sorry,
of the
Damo,
injury he
keep
sustained in the State of Origin game at the start of the year.
Right. Oh, you're still talking about that.
By the way, Texan
He's
in tomorrow.
filthied up because
in tomorrow.
You got him last week.
Well, when he told
Damo,
us that,
I love the fact that you've clipped him. It's beautiful, and he has filthied up.
He has.
He'll filthy up again tomorrow when Tex comes in.
I hope he does.
Oh, Tex
Tell
won't
Fat-
come in.
Tell Fat I'm coming for him. He said. That's
We'll
all I've
arm him
got
with
on
the
text.
fact that Bill's finally worked out that there's 2 wildcard matches, and that 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. Tell him that Nick Dacos in Bill's eyes has finally become a
he's a
good
star.
player,
He's
and
won
that Bailey
5
Smith's a
games
good
from
player.
Who?
Yeah.
Bailey
Bailey
Smith.
Smith, he's a good player, isn't he? Yeah,
He'll get Brownlow votes and win the best and fairest of the
And next
Cats.
you'll tell us Ron Barassi was a good coach.
And it's all a
that's it.
misstep down there. Down at the carry.
No, you bug it up, according to Danger.
No? Oh, yes.
Bug it up.
Well, a little bit of buggering up, yes. We'll sort that out. We move
Well, Purple,
on.